Hey everyone, today we're diving into something that, let's be honest, we all get wrong sometimes. Figuring out the emotion behind a simple text message. We're going to unpack how artificial intelligence is actually learning to read between the lines to understand what we really mean when we type.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You get that one-word reply, fine, or maybe just okay, and boom, your brain goes into overdrive for the next hour. Are they mad? Are they happy? Just busy? That confusion, that digital guesswork, well, that's exactly the problem we're going to tackle.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll talk about why text is so tricky when it comes to emotion. Then we'll see how you can actually teach a machine to read it. We're going to peek inside the AI's brain, check out some mind-blowing real-world uses, and finally, think about what this means for the future of, well, feeling. All right, so let's get right into the core challenge here. When we talk to someone face-to-face, we have so many clues, right? Their tone of voice, a little smile, the way they shrug their shoulders. But in a text or an email, all of that is just gone. It vanishes. And that, right there, is the heart of the whole issue. Our words on a screen are emotionally flat. They're just letters, stripped of all the rich context that really gives them meaning. And that's exactly why a simple word like okay can send us spiraling. So, if we as humans have a hard time with this, how in the world can we teach a machine to figure it out? Well, that brings us to this really fascinating field called text emotion detection. To put it simply, text emotion detection is basically an AI that's been trained to be a decoder for our feelings. It scans a bunch of text and then makes a super educated guess about the emotions that are driving those words. And get this, we're not just talking about sorting things into a positive or negative pile. No way. Just look at this list. These systems are getting so sophisticated they can tell the difference between just being happy and feeling real enthusiasm, or knowing when something is just sad versus outright anger. They're literally mapping a whole spectrum of human emotion.
Okay, let's dive into the how. How does a machine actually learn to do something so human? Well, it's not magic. It's a very logical, step-by-step process that all starts with making our language something a computer can actually work with.
It all happens in what's called a natural language processing pipeline. You can think of it like an assembly line for words. First, the raw text goes in. Then it gets a serious cleanup. It's broken into individual words, and all the boring filler words like the, and, or get tossed out, because they don't really carry any emotion. Next, words are brought back to their root form. So running and ran both just become run. But here, this last step, this is where the magic happens. Vectorization. This is the part where the computer turns those meaningful words into numbers, because numbers are the only language a computer really gets. And this right here, this really shows the fundamental difference between us and the AI. We read words and we feel the meaning. We use our intuition, our experience. The AI, well, it can't feel a thing. It just looks at the numbers we fed it, finds these incredibly complex patterns hidden in them, and then calculates the probability of which emotion those patterns point to. And, there's not just one way to build this AI brain. Developers will test a bunch of different models, which are kind of like different teaching methods, to see which one works best. And as you can see, even the more traditional models are pretty darn accurate. But when you get to the advanced stuff, the deep learning models, you can get up to 95% accuracy. That's just incredible. Now, this is where it gets really cool. Look at how the AI gives its answer. For a sentence like, "This project is absolutely amazing," it doesn't just spit out happy. It gives us this detailed probability breakdown. It's about 65% sure the emotion is happiness, but it also picks up on a big dose of enthusiasm and even a little sprinkle of surprise and fun. It actually gets the nuance. Okay, so this tech is clearly super powerful, but so what? How does it actually go from being code on a computer to something that affects our lives? Let's check out some of the places it's being used right now. One of the biggest places you'll see this is in customer service. Imagine you send an angry, frustrated email to a company. Instead of that message just sitting in a massive inbox, an AI can spot the anger, flag it as urgent, and get you to a real person who can help, way faster. It also has some really powerful potential in healthcare. This tech can help mental health professionals by analyzing things like a patient's journals over time. It can spot emotional shifts or patterns that might be really subtle and hard for a person to see day to day. And in the world we live in online, this is a total game changer. Social media platforms can use emotion detection to automatically flag hateful, abusive, or dangerous content, helping to make our online communities a whole lot safer for everyone. And finally, think about chatbots. We've all talked to a frustrating robotic chatbot. Well, if that AI can understand that you're getting confused or frustrated, it can change its answers to be more helpful, more empathetic, and just make the whole experience feel a lot more human. Look, this technology is really starting to change our relationship with the digital world and its relationship with us. So as we start to wrap this up, let's just think for a second about what this all really means for the future. So, what have we learned? We started with a problem we all face, totally misreading the emotion in a text. We saw that AI can get around this by turning our words into numbers and finding hidden emotional patterns with amazing accuracy. And we've seen this isn't some far-off science fiction. It's already being used to improve customer service, to help with mental health care, and to make the internet a safer place. I think this quote really just says it all. The whole point of this technology is to unlock all that emotional data that's hidden inside our plain text. It's about transforming flat, lifeless words into deep, meaningful insights about how people actually feel. And that leaves us with one last really important question to think about. As this technology gets more and more common, what about things like privacy? What about consent? What does it really mean when the phone in your hand doesn't just know what you're typing, but how you feel while you're typing it? It's something we're all going to need to think about. Thanks so much for watching.